Oh, Jesus Christ, my fingers are too big for this. Jeez, my fingers are too fucking big for this.
That's Daft Punk. We're up all night to get some. What song is that?
Separate Ways by Journey.
Oh.
We gotta bust that out next time with karaoke. Hana will lose her shit.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Common Ground episode 22. I am your host, Cameron Schindler, joined as always by the Thomas Gunn himself. What's up, buddy?
The Thomas Gunn.
You know
wow. I'm okay. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Living, laughing, loving.
Mm-hmm.
Just one day at a time.
Just you and me both.
We are also joined by James Hieronymus Hippo. What's up, buddy? That's the first time I've said your name without forgetting it.
The ceiling.
The ceiling.
That's what's up.
Oh, wow. You got me. You ready for Hippo facts?
Hit me with it.
All right, 10 Hippo facts from National Geographic Kids. 8.
Not one of those adult facts.
yeah. Bring us the Hippo adult only fact.
Well, I'm gonna put adult only Hippo facts and see what I get.
I'm curious as to
Here
what
are
the
some
results are.
adult hippos.
So much for getting through the episode smoothly.
Yeah. Male hippos continue to grow in size and weight, while females do not after reaching a certain age.
Interesting.
Cool.
It's all that testosterone.
Probably. It's like trees.
The hippos are like trees.
They
You
grow-
heard it here first.
They like water in the sun.
I am tree.
I am tree. No, you are mud.
I am one with my name is Mud.
Alrighty. Today we have a topic episode of a variety about Experimental Synthesizer. So we thought, since we all like this card so much and agree it is the definitive best card in Pauper, no questions asked, we would do a little deeper dive on this piece of cardboard specifically, and maybe a little bit about, probably not too much about rectangle theory, but the two are pretty
Intertwined.
coincide. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about one without the other. Thomas, would you like to read me Experimental Synthesizer?
I would love to. I have the Scryfall page already pulled up.
Wait, you need that? You don't just know it by heart?
Well, I want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I do, I just, I might shortcut something, and I think it we'll make sure we do it the correct way here. All right, Experimental Synthesizer. This is obviously a common card printed in 2022 in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It is a red artifact. It costs just red mana. When Experimental Synthesizer enters or leaves the battlefield, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. It also has an activated ability. For 2 and a red, sacrifice Experimental Synthesizer, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance, and activate only as a sorcery.
That's a lot to unpack. Right.
It's a lot of text.
It's a lot of text on a common.
So on the base floor, 1 mana, you cantrip, you get to impulse draw 1 card. But that secret hidden text on that is when it leaves the battlefield, it triggers not just destroyed, but leaves, so you can proc it from sacking itself. But that's not what most people end up doing. A lot of people end up taking a lot of advantage on that, leaves the battlefield text, and this is the core of a lot of engines in many different decks in Pauper.
It's true. It is kind of the trend we've been seeing over the last few years in limited sets in design of giving red this impulse draw effect, like you said. And this is the version of it from Neon Dynasty because there was such an artifacts on one end of the spectrum and enchantments on the other end of the spectrum, kind of themes going on in that set. So it made sense to have the red impulse draw be attached to artifacts because red was really the core of the artifact synergies in that set. And so this is a really beautiful execution, and it's cheap. It's 1 mana. That is a huge, huge plus in its favor.
And I wanted to bring up the comparison to Brainstorm a little bit to this card.
Okay.
Hear me out, where a lot of people will Brainstorm very early in Pauper. In other formats, it's fine with cheap fetches. But in Pauper, Brainstorm is almost suited better as a late game card. So you can like guarantee you have another way to get through it, like a preordain or
Cycling Lorien Reveal.
Exactly. But how this is similar in you don't want to play experimental synthesizers on turn 1, 2, or maybe even 3. Because if you flip the top card of your library and you can't play it for turn, say you played a land and played synthesizer, you can't play that land again. Or you have 1 mana open and you hit a 2-drop, you can't play that 2-drop and you basically wasted a card. It is good to have this on board, but this tends to go in these grindy decks where you want every single piece of cardboard, and that card you're exiling really, really does matter. You get to weird points where a synthesizer might hit another synthesizer or a core Skyfisher, and you cast that card, and then after spending the mana, you'll proc the synthesizer again after you play the core Skyfisher and maybe return the synthesizer. And maybe you can't hit the next card, but at least the synthesizer's back in your hand and you can start going again.
Yeah, there are some instances where you're kind of okay with letting something go, but for the most part, when you're playing this card, you want to try and eke out every bit of incremental value as you can.
And I guess we should talk about like the shells this card goes into.
Sure.
Like when it was first printed, I think the 2 ways that people immediately started abusing it was with the white package of Glenhawks and core Skyfisher. Yeah, shocker. That was already a part of the format in mono white. And also Deadly Dispute effects, which was just Deadly Dispute at the time. So that was an easy way to get it off the battlefield, trigger synthesizer, and draw 2 cards in addition, similar to what people were already doing with Ichor Wellspring.
Yeah, we did a little bit of research and we pulled up the Pauper Challenge results from the first weekend that Experimental Synthesizer was legal, which was the weekend of February 12th and 13th in 2022. And that Sunday challenge, the 13th, we have what was a very early and honestly still looks fairly similar to where the synth decks kind of evolved out of and into today. In first place, Tarask won with a first place finish. 4 experimental synthesizers. They're playing 4 golden eggs and 4 Ichor Wellsprings as their other like artifact bounce, draw card, get some value plays. The Glenhawks, the core Skyfishers, the Raven Inspector is here, Makeshift Munitions is here, Galvanic Blast and Lightning Bolt are here. They were also playing Rally the Peasants and Kuldotha Rebirth, so they could go wide and have like that angle as well. Where I think nowadays those parts of the deck have been taken over by all the glitters and more inspectors and things of that nature.
Yeah, but at least in the Boros versions for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But just like right away, first weekend, like this shell just became a thing right off the bat. And even in second place, we have 2 copies of Synthesizer, Luffy Dishipo Depala, a name that y'all have heard many, many times in our top 8s, with Grixis Affinity especially. In this 2 years ago, second place with Grixis Affinity, 2 synthesizers, just like trying it out, dipping your toes in the water. And I mean, like you were saying, Cameron, I think Grixis Affinity is a deck that could potentially hit something too expensive if you're playing the synths early on. So I kind of like just trying 2 synthesizer in the early days. But obviously synthesizer has become a part of of all sorts of affinity lists since this time. But I thought I wanted to see if like I couldn't remember because I wasn't paying too much attention, like to exact Pauper Challenge results at that point. I was definitely like getting into playing Pauper at the cave with y'all at that point, but
was also not paying a ton of attention at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was not in Nashville at the time.
Yeah, not yet.
That is true.
It's insane that Kamigawa was in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And it's standard legal. But
still
big standard.
But that's not the format we're talking
this
about.
Is the biggest standard of all time.
It's true.
3,300 cards.
It's true. It's a lot of
fun.
cards.
How many unique Magic cards are there?
Almost 30,000.
Cool. So a third of all the cards, like unique cards ever made, are in standard right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
But yeah, I thought that was a neat little history bit. So like you were saying, Cameron, that's kind of like the shell, like the Boros synth shell with like Glenhawks and core Skyfishers was kind of like the first breakout appearance of Synthesizer really like being a core piece of that engine, and I think that very easily holds true today.
And I think that in not Mono Red, but definitely Boros Synth and Kadoltha as we know it were like the two new decks that Synthesizer created versus the Rakdos Storm deck already existed. We didn't touch on that too much, but
sure,
that deck slotted this in, as well as the Affinity decks already existed and just kind of threw it in. But the printing of Synth gave birth to the Boros deck and the Mono Red Kadoltha.
Oh yeah, because now you have another that's where the artifact part comes in,
yes,
rather than just the pick it up and leaves like in the aggressive in an aggressive way.
Because I believe just like there was no reason to be like a Boros Glenhawk deck before this.
Not really. You didn't have a ton of value at the time. There wasn't a lot going on. You were just like this. You were like an even more fair deck than the. I mean, it's a fair deck now, but it's like it was even way more fair back then.
What did you pick up with the Glenhawks?
You would just pick up like Ichor Wellspring. It was like the best card you could pick up.
Like Thraben Inspectors with the Skyfishers.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was like the best thing you could
get a 2/2 flyer for fun.
That was it.
Yeah. Should we fast forward to the future and look at what this card looks like now?
Sure.
Well, it looks the same. It has the same text.
Insert Squidward meme here.
Future. Well, the card looks the same, has the same text on it, but honestly, some of the
No, it's got chrome on it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, now because we're in the future.
We're in the future. Everything is chrome in the future.
A lot of the decks are pretty similar that play it now, like the two biggest ones being Mono Red Kadoltha and still Boros Synth, which is kind of becoming like parasited by Boros Glitters. Kind of taken, but it's still playing the Synthesizer and stuff as well as the Jeskai Synth deck, which is close enough to the same thing as Boros Glitters. But the Boros Synth deck, I just somehow got more value oriented than it did before with it, because you have the Bar Battle Fist, which is a 2-mana for Mirrodin card that comes with the body, so you can pick up the artifact again and use the body with the Glenhawks and stuff. But the Mono Red Kadoltha deck,
yeah,
it's a deck.
It's powerful. I mean, it just keeps getting cheap pieces that care about artifacts or like these new little hasty goblins. Like we'll touch on in the challenges later on. Just the printing of Reckless Lackey, giving red a little boost here and there. It's the Koldatha deck just continues to get a little bit here, a little piece there, a little piece there, and just continues to like slim down into a lean, mean aggro machine. And
the deck only has one card, a 4 of copy, to destroy its own Synthesizer in the Kadoltha Rebirth or sacrifice it. It's a 1 red, as additional cost to cast Kadoltha Rebirth, sacrifice an artifact, and you make 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, and that is a sorcery. And so that is how it's putting Synthesizer in the graveyard. And if it doesn't have that, it's paying 3 mana to sack it, which is useful in the late game. Like
it can be.
It gets to that, but you definitely want to be Kadolthaing it away in that deck. Every card in the Kadoltha deck cost 1.
Yeah.
I think I've never realized that until looking at it right now and like thinking about it in the context of Synth. So you can play it on turn 2, and the only miss you're going to get is a land, which is pretty wild.
Bushwhacker as well.
Oh, sure.
Bushwhacker's a technical miss.
Yeah, I guess. You don't want to be
You don't want to just play that for a 1/1 for 1. Yeah.
Bar's a bit higher than that, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to my little burn list, because my burn list, this is also something that popped up a little bit around when Synthesizer came out, is that being an artifact, being a non-creature, it can also just trigger prowess effects, like when Monastery Swiftspear was in the format.
For a very brief period.
Yeah, for a very brief period. It was very important as a way that was card draw and a prowess trigger in that regard. In my burn list, it's good with the pingers, the Kessig Flame Breather, because Flame Breather also only cares about non-creature. So that's another instance of card draw there that is good. And also my burn list is playing Demand Answers, which also gets to play on the leaves the battlefield part of Synthesizer, which I have very much enjoyed. It I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's like the Deadly Dispute on your Ichor Wellspring, like Demand Answers on Implement or Synth is kind of like a build your own Ancestral Recall, and it's been really powerful for me when I've played it.
Yeah, it's a card I'm surprised it's not picked up a little bit more.
the demand answers.
Yeah, that's a really cool card.
The combination. I think with the red deck now just really slimming down to be very creature focused, just having a 2 mana spell that is on its face looks like card parity rather than advantage. Yeah. I imagine it just hasn't been super attractive, but I don't mind it for my list because I don't mind playing into the late game with mine.
Your mono red deck is a lot more value oriented.
Yeah.
Really, the only way the mono red deck is getting card advantage, it's like it has Experimental Synthesizer, but it's not really turning that into a lot of card advantage. It's just kind of playing it for the artifact that can draw a card if you destroy it, like Adult the Rebirth. Otherwise, it's just replacing itself. Right. So it's very different than what we see from other synth decks and when we think about that. So like this card doesn't really use synth the way other decks use it. They don't abuse the card advantage as much because it's more focused on going fast, like you said, Thomas. So you'll draw a whole new 7 when you go to game 2 because you beat them. Like you're not really looking for the card advantage there. Like you'll just want to put everything on the board and kill them really fast. Like Kadoltha is not trying to draw a bunch of cards and be cutesy with it.
Right, they're like a typical aggro deck where your card advantage is just getting them dead when they have a bunch of cards just still left in their hand.
Your card advantage is game 2.
Right.
Yeah. That was it. That was the joke I wanted to make.
Cool.
You'll draw your card advantage is you draw 7 cards in game 2. I thought that was funny. Okay.
Are there other shells that Synthesizer shows up in these days?
No.
These days, there was a time, not necessarily these days, but there was a time, I remember one of the decks that was a really nice value-centric deck was like the Mardu Synthesizer deck. So it was playing kind of like the Cleansing Wildfire package and along with like makeshift munitions and deadly disputes and stuff like that. And it was a pretty sweet little deck too.
And that is like a tier 2 deck you'll see like on people play. Yeah. It's a pet deck. I really liked Mardu Synth, especially because with the Tithing Blade print, it was just like more reason to play Mardu and not just the Boros.
It's just a little too slow.
Well, I think especially with the printing of Glitters and the Synthesizer deck really being a Glitters deck, because Glitters is a really good hit off Synthesizer. Because if you play that and you have 2 mana open up, that can just give a creature +6/+6 easily. Because you play all the inspectors, the artifact lands, Synthesizer itself. And so Glitter's just really slotted right home into that deck. And I think it really pushed out the Mardu. The Mardu version. There was one in the top 128 of a challenge this weekend, though.
Top 128?
Oh, that was last weekend. Yeah.
You mean the whole challenge?
Yep.
Was it dead last?
It was the showcase. So, no, there was 132 players that got top 128.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Hey,
So really what we're saying here is don't play Mardu Synth.
It's a cool deck. Like that. This is
cool
something I want to try playing again. I don't even know if I ever played it. I've always wanted to.
We talked about several different builds of this deck. We just never came to fruition for us.
I guess like the black is really just for Deadly Dispute, just another way to take advantage of the Experimental Synthesizer. You don't really see a lot of 3-drop plus cards in these experimental decks. You used to see some not Lightning Helix. What was that card called?
Foundry Helix?
Thank you, Hippo. The Foundry Helix in the Boros Synth deck. Because it had some artifact sack synergy and stuff. And that you'd see that as a one of and couple copies in a sideboard, but not really a mainstay. And people just really want consistency, and they want to start playing the Synthesizer on turn 3 or 4. So even with decks like Jeskai Ephemerate, why doesn't the slower decks that play long game want?
It doesn't have a good way to take advantage of being able to use it multiple times. Because like in Thomas's case, where he's like not getting a ton of value off of it. Like it's more there. It's like it's an impulse card. Like that's part of what his deck does. It's an impulse card. That's not a thing that like Jeskai Ephemerate wants. It wants actual physical cards in hand versus like cards in exile. You're not looking for that kind of effect. It also doesn't impact the board immediately. It doesn't have like an effect on the board. It doesn't do anything necessarily. So it's just not a card really that deck is looking for. It doesn't have. It is like that I can think of off the top of my head. Like there are 0 ways to remove it from the battlefield.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even if it does go long and dirtily, that deck does. But
yeah. like outside of like what Cast Into the Fire. Yeah, it's like the only card I can think of that actually removes it from the battlefield.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, I don't think we're paying 2 mana to exile our own synth.
And even that's Mogwarts. They don't play Synthesizer either.
No,
and
they
do play Deadly Disputes though.
They do play Deadly Disputes, and they also play like Chromatic Stars and stuff like that. But they're also like a really color intensive deck with things like Unearth and having like red, bunches of red pips and stuff like that.
It's also a strategy where you might not necessarily want to flip the wrong part of your combo piece at an awkward time where you then have to cast it that turn. Yeah. Like part of something you said earlier, Cameron, in terms of like sequencing with this thing of where like you want to make sure we are playing your synthesizer like before you've played your land drop, when you know that you have enough mana, like unless you're in a dire situation, you have to try and hit something. But like where you haven't played your land drop in case you hit a land, and you make sure you have enough mana plus maybe a land in hand to cast whatever you could possibly flip off your deck. In a deck like Mogwarts, like if you flip the Skirk Prospector and if you don't have other pieces to go for it, and you just like kind of have to put it out there and dangle it in front of whatever your opponent's going to use to remove it, they can just boom, they'll just get it off the table, and you just didn't get any value off of it.
That makes sense in your deck, and I like what you said about the land drop too. We didn't mention that. One of my favorite things about Synthesizer is playing it while I have a land in hand, and I just like hit a tap land off the top. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just play the tap land here, and I'll just play this dinky Thraben Inspector or something for my hand because I'm normally playing the Boros Synth Shell.
Same.
Yeah, and so it's just like a really flexible card in that. It really, like you hear in Magic a lot, you want to plan your turn out first and then take it. And I think this is why like that card appeals to me so much. I think it's why it's a fun card, is because it kind of flips the idea on its head where it's like, well, you don't know what you're going to flip. And so like your game plan is going to change on the fly based on what you flip. And this card has just the potential to...
I think this is... I'll go ahead and say this is like... I know we mentioned Brainstorm earlier as, your comparison card. I do think it also tracks here as like this like skill testing cards. Like I think Brainstorm's a very skill testing card. I also think Synthesizer is like quite a skill testing card as well. Like knowing when to and when not to play it or remove it from the battlefield. How much mana you have available, what actions you might possibly be wanting to take this turn. Do you want to give yourself the chance to do these X number of things? So yeah, the card's very high ceiling on it.
It is just like such a good top deck late game. Like that's what it just like you said has such a high.
At that point,
ceiling.
it's minimum 2 cards, minimum a 2/2, and that's still very good.
And just like those games where the experiment, like you have like 6 lands, you play the Synthesizer, you hit a core Skyfisher, you bounce it up, you hit another Synthesizer, and like even that's enough, and that can just go so much further.
Yeah, the number of like quote cards drawn off this thing in the late game is basically unmatched by anything else.
And I think when playing the Synthesizer decks, especially Boros Synth in particular, because it's such a grindy game, you have to think of like every single rectangle as like very important, and that's more of like the rectangle theory in itself.
Sure.
And just even it's just a dirtily turn, and it's not maybe not even the most mana efficient turn. If you get to play the Synthesizer and get to play the card off that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're cooking.
You're putting more pieces of cardboard on your side of the battlefield than your opponent, and if that's what the matchup is about, then you're cooking. Yeah.
And the true like where it gets really good is not just yes, you have the Synthesizer on the battlefield, and it being on the battlefield is really important because it sit there for a little bit, and maybe a few turns down the line, you draw the Glenhawk over Core Skyfisher for Deadly Dispute, and you get to sack it and recoup more cards, and then the card is just working a double at that point, especially if you bounce it back to your hand. That gets really nasty.
Yeah, those spots are really tricky to navigate of just like, do I, like, it, like the game's going late and it's just sitting on the field, and you're like, do I wait for better value off of this? Like, especially with like the flyers that can bounce it. I think about this a lot of the time when I'm like, okay, am I going to sack it, flip something at a 2/2, or am I just going to let this sit here, wait for a demand answers that I could draw? Like I lost a game, I think a pickup game against one of you recently where like I
It wasn't me.
It was either synthesizer or the implement, where I like got rid of it off the table and then drew into the demand answers, and I was like, well, that was the scenario I ran through my head of like, this is bad if I draw demand answers, but I think I need to just like get something right now. And like
there's that feeling with the synthesizer when you sacrifice it and then the card you flip is core Skyfisher or Glen Hawk, and you're just like, really? But it's just like random's random, so you don't know that. Right. So like, don't ever let that influence it, whether or not it was a correct decision or not to sacrifice it, because you never know what the percentage of that you drawing the next card is. I guess you could know a percentage.
I was like, I don't know. A mathematician might know the percentage.
Yeah, that is true, but I'm not Frank Carson.
But even then, it's like the card's a 2-for-1, so you really can't be that upset.
Exactly, it bounce that land back if you have to, or whatever.
2-for-1 in red is hard to come by.
Your deck has Thomas, as in you. They don't know I'm looking at you.
Sure.
You have Fire Blast in your deck, which is
I do.
That's got to be risky.
It is risky. That's part of why I try to wait on the synthesizers as long as possible. Where like if I flip a Fire Blast and I'm sitting on just like 3 mountains, I'm just like, well,
gotta use it. It's for the face.
Well, a lot of the time I just let it go because like I kind of have to continue playing Magic.
Those who are addicted take risks.
I mean,
Hashtag addicted to Fire Blast.
Yeah.
You don't have to convince me too hard.
You need help. We gotta check you in. That's
all right.
combo.
We'll see who splits finals this month's Pauper.
Well, not me, because I won't be there. But
right. So it might be me with some Fire Blasts, and then maybe
the 6-mana card. With
if I have anything to say about it, no. Oh no.
Oh, you're gonna make him play it out to get there?
Probably not.
Oh.
Are you fogging?
Probably not.
What?
I can't just
so sick.
I can't just play a deck that just like auto loses to you. I can't do it.
You have experimental.
You just
have
dodge
Weather
me. It's fine.
Huh?
You have Weather Storms.
Yeah, cool. He has Fire Blast.
Okay, fair.
I got him down to. I was one spell short of killing him from 31 after like multiple Weather Storms one game.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
If it's a mile, what does he say? A mile or
an
foot?
Inch.
An inch.
Yeah.
A win's a win.
I did win like the next turn.
That's my favorite. So. My idol, Dominic Harvey, or Dominic Toretto.
Whether you win by an inch or a mile, a win is a win.
Yeah,
there
it's
you
some
go.
cheesy.
Cool.
No, I'm sorry. It's family.
Yeah, sure.
You said Dominic Toretto.
It's I said Dominic Harvey.
Well, then you said Dominic Toretto, which is it's family.
Anyway,
any loose ends to tie up? Any thoughts y'all are just bursting to get about? I guess it's fair. We should talk about that last ability on that card.
Yeah, that's one that I think Thomas's deck uses probably better than most decks, actually.
Yeah, you use it a lot.
I do.
That 2/2's annoying.
The 2/2 is annoying. It's also extremely relevant that it's a white creature for these red decks, where a lot of stuff that people are bringing in out of their sideboards are like protection from red or like blue blasts or anything like that. And so having this just like white 2/2 to just like chip in a little bit, or even just like block and trade off with a creature, you almost get like a 3-for-1 out of this card. It's insane. It's obviously not the most powerful thing the card is doing, but the fact that this is just a buyout at any point.
Yeah, the fact that text exists.
Right. It's insane.
It could not have that text. I think its Dark Art would still be. It'd see a lot of play.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
The card would still see a ton of play in this format.
The decks that put this to its absolute best use with Koldatha Red and Boros Glitter Synth, like, they almost never use the 3-mana second, make a 2/2 and activate it.
No.
You're usually losing the games that happens when
those are you're like, oh well, I guess I'll do this because I don't have anything.
And that's
anything
when I
else
always
to
have the Glenhawks. That's when I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that's when it happens, when you sack it to itself. All right, time to flip the Glenhawk.
Then you're sad.
But yeah, I often will do that because my burn list, as I've said before, is often looking to go into the mid to late game very comfortably, and so I often have a bunch of mana lying around because I'm not one to just fire off my Fire Blasts immediately. I want to hold, I want to get to a spot where I have a bunch of lands in play and I can like double Fire Blast after chaining a bunch of spells, and just kill you in like one shot in the late game.
And I think the Mono-Red Kadolpa deck does it a little better than Boros Synthesizer deck because
Really?
I think so, just because you have 2 mana cards in the Boros Synth deck. I know 2 mana, that's really expensive, but so you don't really want to do that unless it's turn 5.
Plus tap lands, I guess, too.
Yeah,
like flip tap lands off the top.
Yeah, and so like you don't really want to do that till it's turn 5, and you can like guarantee cast anything from your deck. Versus like the Godolphin deck can do it on turn 4 that's not the ideal turn 4 for Godolphin, that's for sure. But like you could hit anything you play off a deck just like you could on turn 2 with Godolphin. So it is just a turn sooner you could do it. But like I said, that's not really ideal.
Yeah, I think the only note for the red deck is if you play it on turn 2 with one, so like you have 2 lands, or you're holding your second land drop, you play it and you flip Kuldotha Rebirth, and you don't have a Great Furnace to sacrifice instead, then you would destroy, if you wanted to cast it, you destroy the synth and then not get value off the Leaves trigger. But at that point, you put 3 power into play for 1 mana.
Yeah,
on turn 2,
the Rebirth did what it wanted to do. Yeah, so then hopefully you just have a bushwhacker in hand at that point and you start whacking some bushes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whack all of the bushes.
Exactly. None of us are really bushwhack players.
No. You prefer, or Thomas prefers
Fire Blast.
Prefer Fire Blast. We prefer grindy value games.
So I've been learning the hard way that the Kuldotha matchup is not great for me.
No, you lose pretty
hard.
hard.
Pressure hard.
Yeah,
you get a 1/3 blocker though.
They just doesn't survive.
Yeah, I was like, say if they just go around you, then that's fine.
And didn't you win a game? I'm going back to that point where you said like the 2/2 samurai being white is weirdly relevant. Didn't you win a game because someone had a circle protection red?
Yeah.
And it just happened to be white. So you're like,
I was just like chipping in, and then I got to a point. He was flooding pretty hard, but it got to a point he had like 7 or 8 mana up, and I just chipped in enough times with the 2/2, and I had a pinger in play, so I just waited until the end of his turn, just like cast something, trigger. He just like paid a bunch of mana to stop a bunch of stuff, untap, and I had like 5 spells to slowly whittle away all of his mana, and then I eventually was able to kill him from there.
Get in there with like just one bolt or something.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Once he was tapped out, yeah.
That
was insane. That game was insane.
Yeah,
I talked about that on episode whatever we talked about.
Yeah.
It was last month.
No, month before.
Month before.
No, it was a while ago. Yep, I remember that.
It would have been the Oh My title.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, burn and blades.
Glitters and blades and burn, oh my.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I like that. Good job, Cameron.
Yeah.
Also, like, speaking of like future, like, so we talk about synthesizer quite a bit. Like that game where I was playing our buddy Matt in Chicago in the Pauper Cup, and he just had that turn where like his synthesizer like hit a core Skyfisher, that hit a synthesizer, that hit a Glenhawk, and I'm just like, okay, really? And you know, and it was just like that's like the joke we make quite a bit, where I'm always like raging at my friends like, oh, your synthesizers always hit so well for you, and mine always just like flip over Great Furnace or C.
That's true.
You know, but
synthesizers hate him.
Yeah, synthesizer, but that's just me kind of being self-pity. So yeah, the card's good.
Card rules. It's super fun. Very much looking forward to seeing how, if there's anything cool for Modern Horizons 3 that gets to play around with it. It's super sick. Super sick.
Just Pauper, like we've talked about, kind of like falls in the categories of just like these random combo decks that just kind of they don't care about what you're doing. They try to ignore you and just do their thing. Like we have the Turbo Fog, the Glitters, kind of, sort of, but like Cycling Storm. And then like the aggro decks and the grindy decks. And just like synthesizers, like this weird bridge between like aggro and grindy, especially in the Boros Synth list, where it's like this deck can be blistering fast now with all that Glitters. But even before the Glitters, you would get the Hawk beat spawn. And that Hawk would beat you. That Hawk would beat you off.
This is not the explicit episode.
No, I know. But you can get the Hawk beats ons, and you can whittle down your opponent with some birds in the air. But now like that glitter just makes it so fast. So I think it's like this cool bridge between super grindy, but like once things start getting grindy, it's just like, well, these pick up the synthesizer, and that starts the whole engine rigmarole of stuff.
That's a cool
flipping
point.
Rectangles.
I like that point.
Thank you. I'm full of good points. Shall we gritty on over to the challenges?
If you must go and change your mind,
let's do it. Transition music.
So I can.
Transition music.
Yeah,
This
so maybe
hotly contested. Whoa.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Hotly contested transition music.
It is
All right.
hotly contested.
Shall I read off these top 8s?
I would love to nothing more than hear your voice ring off these top 8s.
To
Let's
list
do
magic decks in the Pauper format.
Hell yeah.
Then us briefly say something.
Hell yeah. We love it. All right, here we go. We got 4 challenges in this new world order. This is Friday, April 26th. 63 players. In 8th place, Campo on Familiars. In 7th place, Denisovich Alexei on Jeskai Ephemerate. In 6th place, Buddy the Frog on Mono Blue Fairies. In 5th place, Lucas Giggs on Mono Red Koldatha. In 4th place, Against on Blue Black Fairies. In 3rd place, Casa on Coggates. In 2nd place, Pavel Val on Gardens. And in 1st place, Miskin Bollock on Mono Red Koldatha. An 8-1 record here. This first place list, we've got 4 ofs of all the creatures, including the new Reckless Lackey. The only 3 of, they have gone to 3 Implement of Combustions. It's 4 ofs all the way down, 17 lands with the 4 Great Furnace. I think this is about as like new stock Koldatha red as you can get, I think.
You were pretty low on that, the new Lackey, that 1-drop.
I was. I didn't think it would be good, but turns out a 1-mana 1/2 first strike haste is pretty good.
Yeah, it could be a little
that can
tricky
draw
to
a
block.
card too.
It's true.
I get it. It can be tricky to block, and then once it loses relevance, replace it.
Yep.
And just X2s are huge because like End the Festivities has been like the way to attack like Koldatha Red for a while, and then we got Blast Runner, and then we got Tomb Raider, and now we have Reckless Lackey, and they have all these X2s. It's so annoying. Like I'm off End the Festivities pretty much in my sideboard now.
Yeah,
it's
it
crazy.
doesn't have very much.
I'm playing freaking Breath Weapons against Mono Red.
In this Gardens deck, doing something different and winning, coming in 2nd place. As in, they've been losing a lot. So it's nice to see it doing well. But no, for all I really like seeing this deck. Pop up still, I don't know. It's like one of those decks where like people say it's bad, we say it's bad, but you're still going to see it pop up from time to time. This Mono Blue Fairies list, kind of a blast. I kind of blast from the very recent past.
I lost Mono Blue Fairies on Moto today.
Yeah, I can still hang out.
4 mutagenic growths in the main. Hello. They're trying to not lose to Mono Red.
One new card that popped up in the Coggates list is Outlaw Medic, and for those not familiar with Outlaw Medic, it is a 1 and a white for a 1/3 with lifelink, and it says whenever it dies, draw a card.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Yep. Mono Red being popular, it blocks really well.
Yeah, it blocks super well and attacks very well.
Blops Lackey very easily.
Yes.
But they can sack the Lackey in response and they gain no life.
This is true.
I broke the meta. Nothing, no synthesizer in top 8. Maybe the card's not as good as we were just praising about. As I look at it. Yeah, as I say, it's a 9th as I'm looking at it right here. But yes, those are Pauper decks. Anything to say about this week?
I don't think so.
Alrighty.
No.
We
can move on.
We're seeing this slow this rise of red. Let's see how that plays out the rest of the weekend. We've got our Saturday challenge, April 27th. We got 49 players here. In 8th place, Trade Routes on Is It Terror. In 7th place, Boom Bust on Grixis Affinity. In 6th place, Luka Jack on Mogwarts. In 5th place, Elvis 10 on Jeskai Glitters Affinity. In 4th place, Mahers on Mono Red Koldatha. In 3rd place, Noob on Mono Black Control.
Ooh, that's a real blast.
In 2nd place, Zeofrane Cone on Turbo Fog. And in 1st place, with a 9-0 record, Campo, back-to-back top 8s, this time in 1st with the Familiars list. I'm going to take a quick peruse.
I guess once GN finally won a challenge, it opened the floodgates for that deck to
no, that's fair.
to just like be everywhere.
People are like, all right, let's try it.
It's also really good against Mono Red.
I was about to say if you can stick to the stick to the plan against Mono Red, you'll probably find some success in the queues right now.
Yeah, your 1 mana 0/4 that gains life with every spell you cast, and your deck is really good in that matchup.
I really like the Izza deck. It's nothing like new particular. Like it's playing the 2 Memory Mystics, 4 Terrors. It doesn't play any mill, like any ways to mill itself. It's just kind of getting there naturally on the Terrors, and it plays like 3 Monarch creatures around that. So it's just like this card advantage. Is it Scred deck really?
Yeah. I like it. I do want to make one note on the mono black control list. This is actually just a Gardens list. There are just no green cards in the main deck. They still have the 4 Colony Gardens in the lands. They are playing some Troublemaker Oofs, Weather Storm, Life Goes On. Also 4 red Elemental Blasts in the sideboard as well.
I love that they've kind of all come around to the like addition of main decking Campfire. It's really cool.
Campfire's sick.
So why do you think this person decided to put? Okay, so there's no Avenging Hunters.
No
whatsoever.
Avenging Hunters.
No, it's just mono black control.
So they just used the green for the life gain sideboard cards. It looks like in Troublemaker Oof, and so that's about it.
Weather Storm, Life Goes On. Yeah.
Why cutting the Avenger Hunters completely? Like,
I guess you don't give yourself the opportunity to lose to your own emblem. Is basically it.
And maybe
you can also still grind you can still grind the game. The games are not that much different without an Avenging Hunter in play. The games will just go a tad bit quicker, and this is assuming that you don't lose it.
And I guess you can kind of. I think that the Avenging Hunter allows you to win games you might not have won before, where an emblem goes uncontested, and maybe you're playing.
I think it is a lot. I think it's a lot harder to do that now.
Yeah, especially with all the aggro decks.
Like all the aggressive decks makes
you got a bunch of murmuring mystics running around.
That is probably one of the bigger reasons that's the case.
And with mono red being popular, as Thomas is saying, maybe you don't got time for a 5-mana 5/4 to give your opponent. I was gonna say, I just don't want to give my opponents the free emblem. That checks
cool.
out. That checks out.
It's also super super hard for you to get it back.
Yes, that deck has a very hard time getting that
like
back.
There's like no other deck that like has as difficult a time to getting it back as this one does.
Yeah, that was my least favorite part about playing the deck.
Yeah,
is like when someone takes it from you and you're just like, well, this is gonna go south fast.
All right, moving on to our Sunday challenge. Sunday, April 28th, right on the dot with the 64 player minimum for this first one. We are looking at 8th place, J-Waves on Boros Synthesizer Glitters.
Ooh, that's a change. That's our resident mono white player.
Oh, interesting.
We've moved over.
We've evolved.
Wait, what day are we on?
Sunday, April 28th, the 64 challenge. In 7th place, Bulls Zero Eye on Is It Terror? In 6th place, Pepe Team on Mono Red Kuldotha. In 5th place, Tazla on Cawgates. In 4th place, Season of Mists on Turbo Fog. In 3rd place, here's GN42 on Familiars. In 2nd place, Super Cow 12653, also on Familiars. And in 1st place, Baiko Deshea, jumping onto the Mono Red Kuldotha train. And this is the same list from same winning list from the previous challenge, or 2 challenges ago.
The Familiars deck really came out to play.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I mean, like
as I said, once GN like won that first like challenge, that just really opened up the floodgates for everyone to want to play this deck because it is very good. Cameron's just like shaking his head. It's like, this deck is garbage.
Well, it's a combination of that, and it's also a combination of like when Mono Red rears its head as a major player in the metagame again, then decks like this will start to do better alongside.
And it's nice to have little ebb and flow, so we don't have just such a stale metagame too.
Oh yeah,
that's very nice.
That's true. As Pauper does stay pretty, I don't want to say stale because we see different stuff pop up quite a bit. As like vast and diverse Pauper is, it is staler compared to other formats.
I would kind of disagree with that.
I actually like the not exactly paper rock scissors aspect of it because it doesn't have that.
No, I agree.
There's usually in most formats there's like a paper rock scissors kind of hierarchy of like this beats this beats this, and this other thing beats one of the other things. But we don't really have that here. We have like a pretty ever changing week to week. Like I don't know that like outside of like red and this Familiars deck, what in the last we'll say this past 2 weeks, won like 2 challenges. And I think
that's what I'm saying. It's like very diverse, but
Yes.
like all the decks are pretty known quantities.
Yeah, everything that's winning is already established.
Yes, it's like there's not like a lot of like you'll see in like Modern. It's like holy crap, someone put Leyline. I guess that's the innovation.
I think the last time this happened was actually at the big Paupergeddon that the weekend that Glitters won. That Just Sky deck was like a huge like.
It totally shook everything up.
Yeah, it's still shaken up.
Yeah.
Basically in the same capacity. It's like it opened up the door to all these like other ways to play Glitters, right?
Right.
So that's like I think that's like the last like big way that has happened. And it's pretty sweet when it does.
And that's what tends to happen with Pauper is like we wait till a very impactful common comes down and kind of.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say an impactful uncommon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the case of Monster Swiss Spear, yes,
that would be
and all that glitters, yes.
The reason I kind of disagree with that statement is because I think you can see we are in a kind of privileged position of like looking at this data every week, like weekend in weekend out, of just being able to see the ebb and flow and like talk about it, and the people who like have their finger on the pulse of a format will be able to see things like right now like Familiars and Mono Red are kind of fighting for like closer to the top. Fog had a big spike last weekend, and like so things are really kind of ebbing and flowing pretty constantly.
But those are things that are always there.
Right, they're always there, but they're not always on top. Like you look at, like you were saying with Modern, like when like we had Fury and Grief, and Scam was just the best thing to do, like almost bar none.
It's like if you shouldn't basically be doing anything else at that rate.
That deck wasn't even good.
Okay.
Disagree. Strong disagree.
Okay,
and like Pioneer right now, like
couldn't win an RCQ with it.
Pioneer. Well, get good. But Pioneer, basically, you top 8 an SCG with it.
Yeah,
so post ban. So like, definitely something to it.
I top 4'd every.
It won the Modern Pro Tour last year.
I top 4'd every RCQ I played with it. Just couldn't convert that into a first place.
Right. So you had really good results with it. But like even like in Pioneer, it's like, well, you better play like Phoenix or Vampires, and so now finally we're getting stuff like Niv to Light, and the new Slickshot decks are finally coming in to like try and like take that throne. And like I think that Pauper, as much as the decks themselves, I agree with your point, the decks themselves aren't like changing too much from like
I think you're getting confused when I said like diverse versus stale. Like I guess like it's not stale, but as in like diverse versus like very new innovation.
There's not a lot of there's like the threshold at which a card has to be good enough for it to see play in the format is pretty high at this rate.
Exactly, because it's like
we're looking at commons across the history of the game, right?
Brainstorm and cast down.
Yeah, you're looking at like
lightning bolt.
So when you say stale, you're talking about these decks are playing the same. They're all playing the same cards we've seen for a while.
I guess that's not. I don't think it's like stale as in like holy hell this meta's boring.
Right. But that's what I interpret. Okay, I understand.
I guess
gotcha.
like not as in there's not a ton of innovation pounding at the door.
It's like Reckless Lackey and Mono Red is like the newest like innovation, and it's like, oh, it's another hasty 1-drop in red. Like,
yeah. It takes a big boat to rock the sea.
Right. Well, I mean that is like big enough where it is kind of like nudging red a little further, but it is kind of just more of the same.
It's just the motion of the ocean.
Yeah.
That was a fun little tidbit in the middle of the last challenges. Should we do the last challenges?
Sure, let's do it. Let's go for it. 2 Generous in that Turbo Fog list, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah, just wanted to shout
see
that
big
out.
Innovations 1 to 2.
Yeah.
That's
this
boom,
is like modern,
mind-boggling.
It's like modern Murktide when someone's like, I cut one cantrip.
I cut one cantrip for another cantrip.
It's a brand new deck. It's busted. Bring it to your next NRG event.
Oh, they cut one. They cut one fog, actual fog for a generous end. Yeah. There you go. Your
Turbo
innovation.
Fog is just modern Murktide. Yeah.
All right. Sunday 28th, our second challenge, the 32 challenge. We got 46 players. In 8th place, Casa on Coggates. In 7th place, Jacket MS on Demir Terror, Blue-Black Terror. In 6th place, Boom Bust on Mono Red Koldatha. In 5th place, Captain Tsubasa on Gardens. In 4th place, Remeleo on Blue-Black Terror. In third place, Magician 15 on Orzhov Blade. In second place, Adrian the Hero 04 on Rakdos Madness. And in first place, with a 7-2 record, the Master GN42 on Familiars. Any notes on this Familiars list, James?
I thought I was the
3
Resonance.
Archaeomancers. Oh, we're maxing out our look, not maxing.
I was
out,
like,
but-
that is not maxing.
No, that's correct. There's one less than max, but it's more than we typically see, which I kind of like actually. Especially if you're playing against these decks that are just if you're playing against a bunch of mono red decks that are just gonna like aggro you out. Sometimes you just need to pick up like a thing, I don't know, like a snap, like pick up the Ephemerate as soon as possible, and then just let that Archaeomancer block or die, and then you have another one in the tank. I don't know. It could come up.
I think I played 3 when I played it, and I liked it
Okay.
because I thought it was just like such a key
Yeah.
part of the combo.
Yeah,
in your
I get
strategy.
playing like 2 in formats where you have a little bit more time to like piece it all together. But if you're getting pressured a lot in the metagame right now, then I think 3 is a good spot to be. Any notes on the Orzhov Blade deck, Cameron?
They went down to 6 inspectors, so big innovations there.
Nice.
They
They have an Arms of Hadar in the main deck.
Yeah, I've been kind
Ooh.
of you've been seeing that a little bit pop up more. Better than Drowned's Armless deck because you are very much like you're playing a bunch of Novice Inspectors and Glenhawks.
Right.
So though it is slower against the mono red decks, it is better against other dirtily 3 Inspector decks and probably better against whatchamacallums. Glitters. Boros Glitters. Sure. So I think that's better than the Suffocating Fumes. But this one's playing both. So I guess like the Suffocating Fumes still hedges against mono red. So that's like 2 kind of like cyborg
Just trying to kind of split the difference.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
the benefit of having Suffocating Fumes is that it's also never a dead card. You can just cycle it.
For 2.
Yeah, it's not a dead card, though.
No, it's not bad. No, I agree.
Yeah. No, I think Arms of Hadar is perfect for this style of deck because you just need a way to because I think people are getting wise to mono red looming in the metagame, and so having effects like this, like I'm keeping Breath Weapon in my board for me because like I can't win if I don't deal with all their stuff on the board, and I also can't win if I'm spending my lightning bolts to kill their 1/2s. So stuff like that is really important.
I don't like that this list is 0 deadly disputes.
Okay.
I feel like that was a very important part of the engine, like the Deadly Dispute, Ichor Wellsprings, but maybe the meta's just a titch too fast for that. But really, your only ways to grind through or card advantage are the 4 Limbuses and the 6 Inspectors you're playing. And I guess you can pick those up with the core Skyfishers, but really, I think the Deadly Dispute synergize nicely with the core Skyfishers and all that stuff.
Yeah, all your dinky stuff.
Mm-hmm, exactly. It's just a nice part of the shell, but I think they made room. Like, they have 2 Duresses here. That's probably how they made room for that, and the Suffocating Fumes and the Arms Vidar that we're talking about, and a Goliath Paladin main as well. So the white...
This deck is probably a little bit better to protect your own Monarch.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because before this deck, we had that white, the Orzhov Initiative deck, or Orzhov Blink deck, that Ephemerate and stuff. So yeah, I agree. And you can always pick it up with core Skyfisher if you get to that point. So it's just another similar, I think it's similar to Avenging Hunter in the green decks.
Yeah. This is kind of a deck that you and I had talked about, like a very similar version of basically just the like very grindy, just black mid-range shell, just add Goliath Paladin instead. That was kind of
if Avenging, you couldn't play green.
Yeah, if you couldn't play green, we would just play white, and this is kind of what we're looking at. So kind of like this, where it is playing like those like main dev, like Arms Vidar and stuff like that, which is like a nice little clean answer to a bunch of stuff.
But I'm sure when we both were talking about that, we didn't envision cutting Deadly Disputes.
I did not. You were correct.
Can't argue with results, though. Yes, you can. But anyway.
You have been since Novice Inspector got spoiled.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a denier of the truth.
I am. Oh my god.
Is the Earth flat too?
We're not going to talk about that on the podcast.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. The Earth is not flat. Then that's all. That's all we got time for today, folks.
Sorry, gents.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
If you made it thus far, thank you so much for listening. I dare you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars on the Spotify.
Put
if you have
stars in my hand.
Yes, exactly. If you have any questions for us, you could tweet us or DM us on the twits. On either 3 of us all have a Twitter that will be in this description. You could also send us an email at commongroundmtgpod@gmail.com. Beautiful.
Oh, I'll just describe my podcast host.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Aww. So nice. Bye?
Bye? I thought the episode ended. I thought we were done.
No.
Goodbye, everyone.
We didn't say bye, everyone.
Peace.
Okay, bye.
Until next week.
Oh my god! I almost said synthesizer nuts on you earlier too. I just because I was about to say Matt nutted on me a synthesizer, and I'm like, what's happening?
Oh my god, we're children.
Yeah, I know.
Did you have something to play for us, James?
Oh no.
No.